So you want to make 2026 the year your relationship doesn't just survive, but, actually thrives? Good. We're about to build a practical, really powerful playbook for exactly that.
Seriously, just pause and think about that for a second. Your best relationship year. Not just fine or okay, but the kind of year you're going to look back on and just smile.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? The very thing that brings us so much incredible joy can also be our biggest challenge. But just knowing that, accepting it, is half the battle. We're all here to learn and grow, not just for our partners, but for ourselves too. So let's get started.
Okay, so part one of our playbook starts right here, with the person looking back at you in the mirror. It's so tempting to look at our partner and make a mental list of what they could be doing differently. But real, lasting change, it always begins when we look inward. Honest self-reflection is the key that unlocks everything else.
Now, before we start looking for things to fix, you've got to acknowledge your strengths. What are you already nailing? Maybe you're a fantastic listener. Maybe you make them laugh, even on a really tough day. Or maybe you're the one who always remembers the little things. Giving yourself credit for what you do right isn't about ego. It's about building a solid foundation so you can tackle the other stuff.
And here's the other side of that coin. Let's get real for a minute. Is there a piece of feedback you keep hearing, like maybe you seem a little distant sometimes or you're always on your phone? Is there a recurring fight that keeps popping up? Hey, this isn't about beating yourself up, not at all. This is about getting curious and figuring out exactly where your energy will have the biggest, most positive impact.
And this is the bottom line, right? You absolutely cannot change what you're not aware of. This simple act of just looking inward, of connecting your actions to how they affect your partner, that is such a powerful first step toward the relationship you really want.
All right, let's move on to our second big idea. And this is all about accepting a fundamental truth. Neither you nor your partner is perfect. And you know what? That's not a bug in the system. It's a feature of being human.
Check this out. It's so amazing how a tiny little script flip can change everything. You're always running late. I mean, that's an attack, right? It puts them on the defensive. But how about we leave 15 minutes earlier? That reframes the whole thing. You instantly go from being opponents in a fight to being teammates trying to solve the same problem.
In this quote, this really gets to the why behind those triggers. A lot of the time, when we get super annoyed by something our partner does, it's because it's poking at one of our own insecurities. So, for example, if their lateness drives you crazy, maybe it's tapping into a deeper fear of feeling unimportant. Understanding that helps you react with a little more empathy, and not just anger.
Ready to level up your communication game? I mean, if your relationship was a house, communication would be the entire frame holding it all together. So, in this section, we're going to give you the tools to make that frame rock solid.
This quote from the amazing therapist Esther Perel is so simple, but wow, is it profound. We all secretly wish our partners would just know what we're thinking, what we need, but that's a total fantasy. You can't expect them to be a mind reader. You have to be brave enough to use your words.
This little story is a perfect example. So the wife was getting totally overwhelmed, just suffering in silence and building up all this resentment because she thought her husband should just intuitively know she was struggling. But guess what? He was completely in the dark. The minute she actually told him how she felt, they could solve the problem together. It wasn't an instant fix, but it was a real start.
Look, conflict is going to happen. It's inevitable, but it doesn't have to be destructive. So when things get heated, first thing you do, take a breath, regulate yourself. Then you have to really listen, not just so you can plan your comeback, but to actually understand. Try to validate their feeling. Something like, I can hear you're frustrated, goes a long way. And finally, remember you're on the same team, looking for a solution that works for both of you.
All right, let's get to our next tool. This one is all about understanding that we don't all give and receive love in the same way. In this section, we're going to dive into the 5 love languages and how you can use them to make your connection so much stronger.
Have you ever felt like you and your partner are just speaking different languages? Well, according to Dr. Gary Chapman, you might actually be right. He figured out that we all have a primary love language. And if you're not speaking your partner's, your message of love might be getting totally lost in translation.
So, here they are. And the real key here isn't just knowing your own love language. The game changer is discovering and then consistently speaking your partner's language. If their language is words of affirmation, they need to hear you say, I love you and I appreciate you. If it's acts of service, doing a chore they hate might mean more than any fancy gift ever could. It's all about tailoring your affection so they can really, truly feel it.
So, you ready to put this all together? Here it is, your blueprint for a thriving relationship in 2026. Think of it as a simple, at-a-glance guide to help you focus on what really, really matters.
This slide just sums it all up so perfectly. At the end of the day, it's a series of choices, right? By consciously choosing the behaviors on the right side of this chart, you start building a relationship that is healthy, strong, and just deeply fulfilling for both of you.
And that brings us to the end. I want to leave you with this one last question to chew on. If you could only choose one single quality that makes someone a great partner, what would it be? Really thinking about that can give you incredible clarity on what you value most and what you want to bring to your own relationship as you head into 2026. Thanks for joining me.